All who have seen this seed are fated to die, yet I swallowed it directly and nurtured it within me for 18 years. It seemed he had overthought things. Fang Chen was, after all, his daughter's best friend's fiancé, and had truly acted out of consideration for her. Look at the fuss I've made, Chen Yuqiu said, his face etched with embarrassment, repeatedly bowing his hands in apology. I have judged a gentleman's heart with the mind of a petty man. Chen Yuqiu, still blushing, picked up the wine from the table, preparing to toast in return. To his astonishment, the dishes on the table were unappetizing to behold. Instantly, he flew into a rage and roared, "Which chef made these dishes? Do you not wish to work for my Chen family anymore?" Chen Siling covered her face, saying, I will prepare a new table of dishes." Chen Yuqiu opened his mouth wide and said, "Young Master Fang, please forgive this embarrassment. I will have Siling prepare them again immediately." Fang Chen waved his hand, saying, "I'm not hungry. Let's first examine Chen Siling's condition. May I take her pulse now?" Chen Siling felt even more unable to face anyone. It turned out Fang Chen had truly been trying to diagnose her just now, but she had mistakenly thought he was taking advantage. Overwhelmed with shame, she covered her face with her sleeve and extended her other hand. Chen Yuqiu was stunned. "Young Master Fang, my daughter is ill." Having been on the brink of death, he had already experienced Fang Chen's medical skills, which could truly be described as turning decay into wonder. His sudden seriousness caused Chen Yuqiu's heart to skip a beat. Upon observing, he saw Fang Chen place his hand on Chen Siling's pulse, his expression growing strange. The pulse was smooth and flowing. This was the sign of a slippery pulse. Chen Siling revealed eyes that still held traces of shame, and asked with doubt, "What is a slippery pulse?" Fang Chen glanced at Chen Siling's abdomen and hesitated before saying, "Pregnancy." Clink, the wine cup in Chen Yuqiu's hand suddenly dropped, shattering into countless fragments on the floor. His eyes stared at his daughter in shock. Chen Siling felt as if struck by lightning. Pregnant, pregnant. Beyond the shock, a tremendous sense of humiliation welled up within her. Especially since these words came from Fang Chen's mouth, she felt even more disgraced. Her eyes quickly reddened. "I am pure and innocent, no man has ever even touched my hand." Chen Yuqiu also reacted, realizing that he should have long since slapped this physician away. "Please diagnose carefully. My daughter is still a maiden and has always conducted herself virtuously. How could she possibly be pregnant?" Fang Chen shook his head and stated with certainty, "It is indeed a slippery pulse. If it's not pregnancy, then there is only one other possibility." Fang Chen looked intently at Chen Siling's abdomen, his gaze piercing. "A congenital fetal body." Chen Yuqiu and Chen Siling took a slight breath, then showed expressions of doubt, clearly having never heard of a congenital fetal body. Fang Chen explained, "The congenital fetal body is a theoretical physique. When two fetuses are in the same womb, there's an extremely slim chance that one fetus is absorbed by the other, resulting in two fetuses sharing one body. This is the congenital fetal body." Chen Yuqiu appeared thoughtful, recalling, "Indeed, when my wife first became pregnant that year, a physician detected twins, but later only one child was born. We always assumed that physicians' medical skills were subpar." Chen Siling touched her lower abdomen, a shiver running down her spine. "Are you saying there's still someone else inside my body?" Fang Chen waved his hand, smiling as he reassured her, "Don't be afraid. The fact that it's called a congenital fetal body rather than a monster indicates that this physique is highly sought after by many female martial artists. Most absorbed fetuses are gradually assimilated as the host grows. However, at your age, if it awakens, it will undoubtedly manifest an extraordinary aspect. It might possess a special ability, enhance the host in some way, or even contain an exceptionally strong spiritual root." Hearing this, Chen Yuqiu's face lit up with surprise. "This is actually a good thing. Young Master Fang, do you have a method to activate it?" Fang Chen nodded and immediately wrote down a prescription, which listed only expensive medicinal ingredients. Chen Yuqiu winced at the sight, feeling a pang of heartache over the cost, but gritted his teeth, knowing it could fundamentally transform his daughter. Stewardship began to gather the materials. Chen Siling bit her lips slightly. She was no longer afraid. Instead, she felt a sense of anticipation, hoping for a significant change that would narrow the gap between herself and Fang Chen. "Thank you so much. She doesn't even know how to repay you." Her eyes frequently held an admiring gaze, and Chen Yuqiu, as her father, seemed to discern something. He said regretfully, "It's a pity young Master Fang is already betrothed. Otherwise, what harm would there be in marrying my daughter to you?" The top prodigy and strongest cultivator in Lone Boat City, a dragon among men, he would be more than happy to see the two united. Chen Siling's heart pounded wildly, so her father thought so highly of Fang Chen. She whispered, "Father, young Master Fang actually has another top-secret identity. Please don't tell anyone outside. He is also a 3-star soul master. Our family's high-grade qi cultivation liquid and foundation establishment pills both came from him." Chen Yuqiu's pupils constricted, and he instinctively started to kneel and worship. But Chen Siling stopped him. "Father, he doesn't know yet that I've discovered his identity as a 3-star soul master." He halted his actions, but a colossal wave of emotion surged within his heart. A 3-star soul master, that was an existence even the sect master of Qingyun's sect would kneel before. Even if he is already betrothed, what harm would there be in my daughter marrying him as a concubine? He slapped his thigh heavily. "If only your mother hadn't acted on her own." Chen Siling was puzzled. "What about mother?" Chen Yuqiu said helplessly, "Your mother worried that the Chen family would lose its support after I'm gone, so she took it upon herself to arrange a match between you and the Zhong family of Green Willow City. They will soon come to propose marriage." Chen Siling's face turned ashen as she stumbled backward repeatedly. "She's also betrothed now." "So, what about her and Fang Chen?" Her face was filled with bitterness. Chen Yuqiu sighed silently. Bowing to Fang Chen, he said, "Young Master Fang is a man of the world. On the day of the marriage proposal, please also come as a witness and, incidentally, help scrutinize this person for my daughter, to see if he is suitable and worthy of her hand in marriage." Fang Chen politely declined, saying, "How can I, an outsider, meddle in the affairs of your two prominent families?" Chen Yuqiu truly valued his identity as a 3-star soul master, believing that such a figure would undoubtedly possess excellent judgment. "Please, young Master Fang, lend your assistance, lest my daughter marry the wrong person and live a life of regret." Chen Siling's eyes lit up, and she quickly shot Fang Chen a meaningful glance. Fang Chen, of course, understood her subtle intention. She wanted him to intervene and help reject the marriage proposal. Seeing her pleading expression, Fang Chen reluctantly agreed, "All right. I will bring Rushue to attend the ceremony, but I will judge fairly. If the person is indeed good, you should marry him." Chen Siling cast a resentful gaze, staring directly at him. Fang Chen felt utterly uncomfortable under her stare. Unable to linger any longer, he clasped his hands in farewell. He then heard laughter and lively chatter from within the manor, indicating a banquet was being held. Fang Chen stepped through the gate in surprise, whereupon Lu Rushue had greeted him with a beaming smile. "Quickly, offer Rian a toast." After a brief thought, Fang Chen exclaimed in surprise, "She has broken through to the foundation establishment stage." Only yesterday, she had borrowed money from him to buy a foundation establishment pill. Now, the Lu family was holding an unprecedented banquet, which must be to celebrate Lu Rian's breakthrough to the foundation establishment realm, a stage where one truly becomes an independent cultivator and a significant figure in Lone Boat City. Even Lu Zhengyan, already middle-aged, was only at the first level of foundation establishment. For Lu Rian to break through to the foundation establishment realm at such a young age was indeed a joyous and significant event in the Lu family's history. "It should be me toasting you." Seeing Fang Chen return, Lu Rian approached with 2 cups of wine and said, "I haven't been able to buy the foundation establishment pill yet." Having broken through to the foundation establishment realm, Lu Rian appeared more composed and calm than before, with eyes full of confidence. Her perception of their relationship also seemed to have shifted with her advancement in cultivation. This time, she did not shy away, and holding her wine cup, she declared, "I do not regret refusing the engagement back then." The image of Shadow Guard No. 1 appeared in her mind, filling her with admiration. She continued, "You and I are ultimately not on the same level. It would be difficult for us to share common aspirations. I hope you can soon let go of your lingering feelings and strive to become even more exceptional." Fang Chen was speechless. Who has lingering feelings? He was eager to marry Lu Rushue. He offered no further explanation, simply taking a small sip of wine as his reply. Yi Qingxue, who had been invited to celebrate, couldn't help but feel indignant on Fang Chen's behalf. She gently admonished, Rian, why would you say such things? There are so many people here, at least save him some face. Lu Rian calmly replied, I just hope he can become better. If he were even half as capable as Shadow Guard number 1, I would have accepted the engagement back then. Yi Qingxue looked astonished. Fang Chen is more than half of Shadow Guard number 1, he is Shadow Guard number 1 himself. She opened her mouth, but bound by her promise to keep Fang Chen's identity a secret, she ultimately said nothing. She merely probed, Rian, I think Fang Chen actually has a lot of potential. Since he and your sister aren't officially married yet, how about I try to set you two up? Lu Rian looked at her as if she were an idiot. Qingxue, have you lost your mind? I've only just managed to escape from this misery. Yi Qingxue stammered for a long time, finally saying helplessly, sigh, just don't regret it later. Lu Rian showed a bewildered expression, I'll regret it. My best friend must be drunk. After a few rounds of drinks, Fang Chen excused himself, preparing to return and cultivate. Having fought the branch master today, he deeply understood the gap between them. He had to quickly raise his cultivation by another level, only then would there be a hope of victory. Not long after he left, Yi Qingxue suddenly caught up to him. She whispered, could I ask you to save someone? Fang Chen looked around and saw no one. Yi Qingxue said, Zhu Jianshan was afflicted with a sinister poison while on a mission for the Azure Cloud sect. He returned this time to heal, but his condition is very complex, and renowned doctors from all over have been powerless. His mother entrusted our city lord's mansion to find a more formidable divine physician, which made me think of you. Fang Chen didn't even think, me save him? You don't know about the animosity between us, do you? He then recounted their grievances. Upon learning of the grudge over a stolen wife, Yi Qingxue gasped in astonishment. After a brief contemplation, she looked at him and said, I still suggest you go. The Zhu family possesses a 1,000-year-old fire well, which produces a few fire spirit pearls every decade. They are greatly beneficial for Qi condensation stage 9. If your aptitude is strong, 3 pearls can allow you to break through to the perfected state of Qi condensation stage 9. You can demand the Zhu family offer them as a condition for you to treat Zhu Jianshan once. The Zhu family has such good things? Fang Chen's heart stirred. Although it meant saving Zhu Jianshan, the rarity of the fire spirit pearls was undeniable. What are his symptoms? Yi Qingxue then explained everything she knew. Fang Chen couldn't help but smile. Sinister poison? This is corpse poison contracted from contact with women who cultivate heterodox paths. Removing this poison would be quite an exhilarating yet painful experience. Yi Qingxue's face lit up with joy. I'll go with you tomorrow. After cultivating for an entire night and consuming several bottles of top-grade qi refining fluid, Fang Chen's cultivation showed no signs of improvement. The higher one ascends, the more arduous the path becomes. Gazing at the sun outside the window, Fang Chen rose to his feet. The remnants of the Blood Bat Palace could reappear at any moment, necessitating a swift advancement in his cultivation. The Zhu family's fire spirit pearl must be acquired. He took down the thunder-patterned spiritwood sword, which hung by his bedside. Against powerful figures like the branch master, ordinary divine weapons and sharp tools were ineffective, as their potent spiritual energy repelled common blades and swords. Only by taking them by surprise and activating the wooden sword's electric shock effect could there be a glimmer of victory. He donned the Shadow Guard number 1 mask in the alley, and soon after, met with Yi Qingxue. Are we not going to the Zhu family? Fang Chen stated, removing the corpse poison requires a special material. Upon arriving at Lone Boat City's largest material shop, he spotted a bronze-colored, thorn-covered bramble. Fortunately, it was available here. Yi Qingxue's eyes gleamed with curiosity, and she reached out a finger to touch it. Fang Chen promptly stopped her. This is the iron blood bramble. Do not touch it directly with your hand, or you will suffer the pain of flesh being torn. Yi Qingxue quickly retracted her hand. So miraculous? What is that golden one next to it? She pointed to a golden bramble nearby. That is the even more formidable soul-stealing bramble. A single touch will inflict intense, unbearable pain upon the soul. It was only for patients with intractable illnesses, clearly referring to Zhu Jianshan. Fang Chen put on gloves and picked up the bronze iron blood bramble. This kind is sufficient, anything stronger could very well claim Zhu Jianshan's life. At that moment, Zhu Jianchen entered with his attendants, calling out from afar, "Shopkeeper, another piece of pain-relieving antelope horn." Upon seeing Fan Chen, he immediately revealed a hint of mockery. "So Shadow Guard number 1 also comes to buy materials. Who are you planning to bring back from the dead this time?" Glancing at the iron blood bramble in Fan Chen's hand, he declared, "Shopkeeper, I'll take everything he has in his hands." The shopkeeper's eyes lit up. "Excellent, excellent, I'll wrap it up for young Master Zhu." Fan Chen picked up the soul-stealing bramble, and Zhu Jianchen, with another grand wave of his hand, announced, "I'll take this too. I am a major client here, I have priority in purchasing all materials." The shopkeeper immediately complied, taking away the soul-stealing bramble as well. A peculiar expression appeared on Fan Chen's face. The patient buying their own medicinal materials? What a strange turn of events. He said meaningfully, "It's fine as long as young Master Zhu likes it." He and Yi Qingxue arrived at the Zhu family residence ahead of schedule. Zhang Yuxiu, having learned of their arrival, had been waiting for quite some time. Seeing that Yi Qingxue had brought a very young masked man, Zhang Yuxiu expressed her concern, "Is this the divine doctor you spoke of? Isn't he a bit too young? Medical expertise requires accumulation, the older one is, the more profound their experience becomes." Yi Qingxue patiently explained, "Auntie, wasn't young Master Zhu present for the Chen family incident yesterday? Patriarch Chen had already been placed in his coffin, yet Shadow Guard number 1 revived him." Zhang Yuxiu frowned and replied, "But Patriarch Chen wasn't dead in the first place, so it doesn't count as raising him from the dead." A gasp of surprise escaped Yi Qingxue and Fan Chen's minds. How did Zhu Jianchen know that Patriarch Chen wasn't dead at all? Both Zhu Jianchen and Chen Wuji had unanimously declared Patriarch Chen dead, and had even prevented Fan Chen from taking his pulse. The two exchanged glances, each recognizing the doubt reflected in the other's eyes. He had been murdered by the mastermind, and Zhu Jianchen was present. As a practitioner of the Foundation establishment realm, he was among the select few with the power to eliminate someone without leaving a trace. Considering this, it could almost be concluded that Zhu Jianchen had conspired with Chen Wuji to bring about Patriarch Chen's demise. Yi Qingxue offered a low-voiced reminder. Fan Chen nodded in agreement. Their thoughts were mere conjectures, speaking out rashly could easily lead to Zhu Jianchen turning the tables on them. However, this did not imply that Fan Chen would simply let the matter rest. Chen Yuqiu was also Chen Siling's father, and for his sake, some form of retribution had to be exacted. He turned to Zhang Yuxiu, who was still expressing doubt, observed her complexion, and then addressed her, "Madame Zhu. The qi-replenishing and blood-nourishing elixirs, such as the youth-returning pill, which you frequently consumed, have already restored your body to a youthful state. Continued consumption of your previous medications would, in fact, lead to oversupplementation." Zhang Yuxiu dismissed his concern, "But I feel perfectly fine." Fan Chen calmly retorted, "Do you still feel perfectly fine when you are wiping away nosebleeds every morning and evening?" Zhang Yuxiu was taken aback. "How did you know I've been experiencing nosebleeds every morning and evening recently?" Fan Chen merely smiled, offering no verbal response. Yi Qingxue, smiling warmly, inquired, "Madame Zhu, do you now believe in Shadow Guard number 1's medical prowess? It was you who diagnosed Patriarch Chen's pulse remotely. How could Zhang Yuxiu possibly dare to doubt Shadow Guard number 1's exceptional medical skills any longer?" She quickly urged, Quickly, serve tea to this esteemed divine doctor, the very best tea." Zhang Yuxiu then inquired about Zhu Jianchen's condition. "Esteemed divine doctor, are you truly confident in curing his poison?" Seeing her continued pretense of ignorance, Fan Chen spoke candidly, "Forgive my bluntness, but this is not poison. Madame Zhu, it would be best if you disciplined your son and prevented him from consorting with those unorthodox women again. This time, he merely contracted a household poison, which was already fortunate. They constantly dealt with venomous creatures and insects, and possessed many deadly poisons." Zhang Yuxiu's expression immediately became unnatural. Evidently, she also knew the origin of the poison in Zhu Jianchen's body. Having it pointed out, she felt very awkward, yet also pleasantly surprised. Other so-called divine doctors, even after direct diagnosis, could not determine the type of poison. The number 1 Shadow Guard before them, based solely on a few descriptions of the symptoms, confirmed the true nature of the poisoning. If he could not cure her son's illness, then no one else could. We are relying entirely on you, Zhang Yushu said, overcome with emotion. Fang Chen waved his hand. He said, I can remove the household poison, but I want your Zhu family's fire spirit pearl. Zhang Yushu's face showed hesitation. She appeared to be in a difficult position. After a moment of hesitation, she said, Esteemed divine doctor, could something else be used as a substitute? You may choose freely from my Zhu family's treasury. Only the fire spirit pearl is reserved as an offering to the inner disciples of the Qingyun sect. Fang Chen shook his head. I only want the fire spirit pearl, I have no interest in anything else. If your Zhu family cannot provide it, then I shall take my leave. Upon speaking, he immediately rose, without any hesitation. This made Zhang Yushu anxious, and she cast a pleading glance at Yi Qingxue. Yi Qingxue also reluctantly considered that the Chen family could also provide it, and since the Chen family had been saved by him, they had likely offered much more, so the number 1 shadow guard was not lacking ordinary items. Aunt, if you are unwilling to part with the fire spirit pearl, then let's pretend we never came. You can contact the number 1 shadow guard yourselves. I have already repaid this favor. Had the Yi family not owed the Zhu family a favor in the past, Yi Qingxue would not have bothered to specifically invite the number 1 shadow guard to help with Zhu Jianshan's illness. Now that the favor was repaid, she would not concern herself with it further. Zhang Yushu immediately became anxious. If she let the number 1 shadow guard leave, her son's corpse poison might never be cured by anyone else. She gritted her teeth and said, however, in recent years, the fire spirit pearls produced in the fire well have become fewer and fewer. 10 years from now, who knows how many will remain in the well? I can only agree to let you descend and harvest once. Whether you find anything will be up to you. Fang Chen frowned slightly. The quantity cannot be guaranteed, but the opportunity is right before him, surely he cannot miss it. After a moment's consideration, realizing that someone else would even pay for the materials for the treatment and he only needed to exert some effort, he readily agreed. Now, begin preparing for the treatment as I have instructed. Following his instructions, the Zhu family servants brought a pig slaughtering rack and prepared 10 basins of glowing charcoal. Zhang Yushu was somewhat dumbfounded. Revered divine doctor, why does this look like we're about to slaughter a pig? Fang Chen reminded them, during the process of extracting the corpse poison, Madame Zhu, please remain calm. If you interfere midway, your son's corpse poison will become utterly incurable. Zhang Yushu nodded and said, as long as he can be cured, what does a little pain matter? Fang Chen could not help but shake his head. Zhu Jianshan had returned. Zhang Yushu quickly said, Shinner, come quickly to pay your respects to the divine doctor. He is the great divine doctor recommended by Miss Yi. He had heard last night that another divine doctor, personally recommended by Yi Qingxue, would be coming today to treat the illness. He had been afflicted by the corpse poison for half a year, his health deteriorating. If it wasn't removed promptly, his very life would be in peril. He dared not delay, stepping forward to cup his hands. I am Zhu Jianshan, it is you I see. He recognized that the so-called divine doctor was none other than Shadow Guard number 1. Instantly, he frowned deeply. Why did you invite him? I don't want him to treat me. Zhang Yushu chastised, silence. How dare you be so disrespectful to the divine doctor? No one else can cure your corpse poison. How could Zhu Jianshan regard Shadow Guard number 1 favorably? The two had just had a minor disagreement, how could he dare let him treat his illness? He scoffed, whoever wants him to treat them can do so, but I have no interest. Having spoken, he lifted his leg, preparing to leave. Zhang Yushu, exasperated, ordered, tie him up for me. With such a grave illness at hand, how can you be so willful? Several house guards immediately gathered around. However, they were no match for Zhu Jianshan and were knocked down in a few moves. A bunch of dog-like servants, how dare you lay hands on me? Zhu Jianshan roared in anger. But just then, his vision blurred, and Shadow Guard number 1 lunged forward with a wooden sword. Zhu Jianshan let out an angry laugh. A mere practitioner at the 9th level of Qi condensation dares to attack me? He lunged for the wooden sword. This wooden sword was absolutely not to be touched by the body. Just as he grasped the wooden sword, preparing to seize it, Fang Chen suddenly activated the lightning strike effect within the sword. A powerful electric current immediately surged into Zhu Jianshan's body, causing him to shriek and freeze in place. Fang Chen seized the opportunity, delivered a sweeping kick, and sent him flying onto a wooden frame. The household guards immediately stepped forward, bound him tightly, and tied him to a pig slaughtering rack. By the time his body regained sensation, his limbs were already immobile. He could only roar, "Let me down!" Fang Chen ignored him. He ordered men to lift him onto a brazier rack for roasting. The intense heat made him howl continuously, "What are you trying to do to me?" Fang Chen calmly replied, "To treat your illness, of course. A crucial ingredient is still needed." He opened the package Zhu Jianshan had brought back and found the golden soul-snatching thorns. He couldn't help but be slightly stunned. "Where are the bronze-colored thorns?" A subordinate reluctantly explained, "The young master found them too cheap and troublesome to bring back." Fang Chen, with a sigh, picked up the soul-snatching thorns and approached Zhu Jianshan. "You threw away the iron blood thorns, so I can only use this to treat your illness." Upon seeing this object, Zhu Jianshan turned ashen with fright. "You're going to use soul-snatching thorns to treat my illness? Do you know what this is? It can kill a person." He recognized the object and knew its terrifying nature. Fang Chen showed a playful expression and scoffed, "Didn't you contend with me for this item to treat your own illness? I thought you also knew its medicinal properties." Zhu Jianshan's face turned liver-colored. The thorns he had paid a hefty price for and snatched were actually meant for Shadow Guard number 1. This left him extremely vexed. What truly terrified him was that it was to be used on him. What made him want to spit blood was that he had thrown away the less painful iron blood thorns, only keeping the soul-snatching thorns. "Don't come any closer." As Fang Chen applied the soul-reaping thorns upon him, he experienced excruciating pain in his soul. It felt as if a sharp blade were violently stirring within his very soul. The torment, far surpassing that of a physical stab wound, instantly elicited a pig-like shriek from him. His limbs twitched and convulsed uncontrollably. Zhang Yuxiu listened with immense distress. Just as she was about to call for a halt, faint traces of black liquid began to seep from Zhu Jianshan's skin. Under the intense heat of the brazier, it gradually evaporated, dissipating as black vapor. This method was truly effective. She suppressed her heartache, covered her ears, and turned away. Zhu Jianshan was still able to shriek, but as the treatment progressed, the pain grew so intense that he no longer had the strength even to wail. His entire body continued to convulse relentlessly. All the suffering he had endured throughout his entire life combined did not amount to even a tenth of the agony he felt at this moment. Yi Qingxue watched, utterly astounded. Surely, even criminals subjected to death by 1,000 cuts did not suffer as much as Zhu Jianshan. He deserved this fate, having paid a price for his attempt to harm the Chen family head. Half an hour later, no more black liquid seeped from Zhu Jianshan's body. Only then did Fang Chen finally cease his actions. The corpse poison had been completely extracted. Zhang Yuxiu quickly instructed someone to take Zhu Jianshan down. Gazing at her son, who was on the verge of death, his features twisted in agony, almost unrecognizable as a human, her heart ached, and she wept uncontrollably. Zhu Jianshan's finger trembled as he pointed resentfully towards Fang Chen. Zhu Jianshan, incredibly weak, said, "Make him leave." Fang Chen merely shrugged. He replied, "My apologies. It seems I won't be leaving anytime soon. I still need to retrieve the fire spirit pearl from your Zhu family's ancient well." The Zhu family intends to give him the fire spirit pearl? After he tormented me so, they still plan to bestow it upon him? You! Already mentally traumatized, Zhu Jianshan could not bear such provocation. He gasped with rage, his eyes rolled back, and he immediately fainted. The Zhu family members instantly fell into a panic. After an examination, Zhang Yuxiu discovered that he was not in any serious danger. She let out a long sigh of relief. She then said to Fang Chen, "Many thanks, esteemed divine physician. My son will soon recover." Under his guidance, Fang Chen arrived at the Zhu family's forbidden area. Moreover, the bottom was exceptionally spacious, no smaller than the Zhu family's manor. When you descend, you must be extremely careful of your footing. Zhang Yuxiu reminded him, each time the fire spirit pearls are harvested, my Zhu family suffers some casualties. Fang Chen lowered his head to look. The bottom of the well seemed very calm, aside from being somewhat warm, there was nothing unusual. Zhang Yuxiu picked up a handful of pebbles and threw them down. As one of the pebbles fell, a crimson pool of magma instantly appeared below, engulfing it. Fan Chen's pupils slightly contracted. Zhang Yuxiu stared intently at him. If you dare not descend, you can wait a few days. After my Zhu family finishes harvesting, we can give you one. Then it will be replaced by something else. This calculation was so blatant, the abacus beads practically splashed onto his face. If Fan Chen wasn't present, how would he know if the Zhu family had harvested any? They would just give him some random item to dismiss him. I will descend personally, Fan Chen calmly stated. Even if he accidentally stepped into the magma, he could swiftly evade it. Zhang Yuxiu's face showed displeasure. She said, then be careful. After speaking, she revealed no further precautions regarding the fire well. She returned to tend to her son's injuries. Yi Qingxue worriedly said, Young Master Fang, please be extremely cautious. This fire well has indeed claimed many lives. Fang Chen leaped down. He utilized his movement technique to search the bottom of the well. The area near the wellhead had been searched countless times by the Zhu family, and there were no fire spirit pearls left. He could only proceed to the deepest part, where the Zhu family members dared not venture. Time passed, minute by minute, yet Fang Chen did not resurface. Zhu Jianchen, lying on the sickbed, gradually regained consciousness. With the corpse poison removed, his body was noticeably much better. After simply consuming a few healing elixirs, he would be able to walk again. However, at this moment, his greatest concern was not his body, but how many fire spirit orbs Fang Chen had acquired. Why did you send Shadow Guard No. 1 to the fire well? I have already promised these 3 fire spirit orbs to senior brother Zhong of the inner sect. Only then can I smoothly navigate my way in the Qingyan sect. Zhang Yuxiu furrowed her brow. She said, there is no need to worry too much. After years of harvesting, there are very few places left in the fire well where fire spirit orbs can still be born. The safest spot is extremely well hidden, and he may not be able to find it. As for the deepest part, even if you were to descend yourself, it would be tantamount to seeking your own demise. Only then did Zhu Jianchen feel a little better. However, still feeling uneasy, he said, let us go and guard by the fire well. Lest he finds nothing and vents his frustration on the fire well, thus damaging our Zhu family's treasured land. Zhang Yuxiu was then startled, exclaiming, how could I have forgotten this? Let's go and check quickly. Fang Chen stood before a stone wall. While other stone walls were covered in thick layers of aged volcanic ash, this particular wall had noticeably less dust than the others. It seemed somewhat out of place. As if someone had disturbed it before. Fang Chen's eyes flickered. He tapped the stone wall, and when he struck its center, a hollow sound echoed forth. The inside was not solid. Without further hesitation, Fang Chen channeled his spiritual energy and struck the center of the stone wall with his palm. With a muffled sound, the stone wall shattered, revealing a half-person high opening. It resembled a bird's nest. 3 brilliant crimson orbs, emanating rich spiritual energy, lay nestled together like bird eggs. Fang Chen was overjoyed. He immediately collected all 3 fire spirit orbs into his spatial pouch. These were clearly intended to remain hidden from discovery. Fang Chen smiled faintly. The more the Zhu family begrudged losing the fire spirit orbs, the less he could simply depart so easily. Casting a glance towards the deeper recesses, he smiled and executed his movement technique, exploring the bottom with the precision of a dragonfly touching the water. With each step, he would lightly spring up as if weightless. On several occasions, he inadvertently stepped on lava, yet he effortlessly mitigated the danger. The more perilous the area, the less frequently the Zhu family visited. Consequently, the more fire spirit pearls were found there. He continued collecting until he reached the very end of the fire well, completely clearing it of fire spirit pearls. Gazing at the impressive total of 12 fire spirit pearls, Fang Chen, content, returned the way he came. He emerged from the well. Yi Qingxue, who had been waiting for quite some time, asked with concern, you weren't hurt, were you? Upon closer inspection, she observed that not only was Fang Chen completely unharmed, but he was also spotless, showing no trace of disarray. Zhang Yuxiu and her son, Zhu Jianchen, secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Whenever members of the Zhu family descended, they invariably emerged covered in dust and looking disheveled. At the very least, their skin would suffer minor burns. Someone like Fang Chen, who didn't even acquire a speck of dust, most likely did not venture deep into the well. It would be impossible to collect any fire spirit pearls. Zhu Jianchen remarked sarcastically, insisting on going down. It would have been better if our Zhu family had simply offered something. Zhang Yuxiu's brows unfurrowed as she stated, descending into the well was your own decision. We made it clear beforehand that your success in collecting anything would depend on your own capabilities. Since you have obtained nothing, you cannot lay blame upon our Zhu family. Fang Chen had initially not intended to display them, so as not to provoke the mother and son. However, given their condescending attitude, Fang Chen unceremoniously produced 6 pearls, remarking, "My luck wasn't bad." He then separated 3 of them and handed them to Yi Qingxue, saying, "These 3 are for you, as compensation for introducing this business opportunity." Yi Qingxue instinctively accepted them, then her expression shifted to one of surprise. "You actually found 6. Members of the Zhu family typically only manage to find 3 on each descent. Simultaneously, the expressions on Zhang Yuxiu and Zhu Jianchen's faces dramatically altered. Zhu Jianchen exclaimed in astonishment, 6? How could you possibly obtain so many? Fang Chen replied with a faint, knowing smile, "I obtained these through my own ability." "Does your Zhu family intend to renege on our agreement?" Zhang Yuxiu's face turned livid. "I wouldn't object if you took 1 or 2, but 6 is simply excessive. Take 3, leave 3, and we can still maintain our friendship in the future." Their composure immediately faltered. Had they known that Fang Chen had completely emptied the entire fire well, taking all 12 pearls, they would likely have resorted to direct action on the spot. Fang Chen stated expressionlessly, "Madame Zhu, you previously affirmed that whatever I obtained would be a testament to my own skill. Surely, you cannot claim that if I obtained nothing, it was due to my incompetence, yet if I obtained too much, you would then accuse me of being excessively ruthless?" Yi Qingxue, having received 3 fire spirit pearls, also stepped forward in his defense, saying, "Auntie, I specifically invited the divine doctor to assist out of respect for the long-standing friendship between our 2 families. How do you expect my Yi family to uphold its reputation in such circumstances?" Zhang Yuxiu was left speechless, like a mute eating bitter herbs, suffering in silence. She had never anticipated that Fang Chen could find 6 pearls. However, with her prior agreement and the city lord's daughter present, reneging on her word was difficult. She could only declare with resentment, "Very well, my Zhu family will simply accept this misfortune." After Fang Chen and Yi Qingxue had departed, Zhu Jianchen grew increasingly agitated with each passing thought, clenching his fists and exclaiming, "That cursed wretch! He was incredibly ruthless. This also implies that there must still be numerous fire spirit pearls within our fire well, otherwise, how could an outsider obtain so many on his very first entry?" Upon hearing this, Zhang Yuxiu's eyes lit up, and he immediately gathered his clansmen to go down and harvest. Yet, after 3 days and a night of strenuous effort, they returned with nothing but injuries, not a single fire spirit orb in hand. Reporting back, Madame Mu, the fire spirit orbs at that hidden location were all dug up by that young man, and even the few fire spirit orbs we saw in the distance within the depths have been taken. Zhu Jianchen was furious. He has completely depleted the fire spirit orbs, not leaving a single one behind. Meanwhile, Fang Chen and Yi Qingxue hurried back to the Lu family together. Yi Qingxue held 3 fire spirit orbs, and upon noticing their color begin to dim, she immediately warned, "I almost forgot, fire spirit orbs continuously lose their efficacy once they leave the underground magma." Fang Chen suddenly realized, and quickly returned to the Lu family residence. He called for Lu Ruxue, took out 3 fire spirit orbs, and handed them to her, saying, "Take them quickly." Lu Ruxue was perplexed, but immediately did as he instructed. Yi Qingxue, however, was astonished. "How do you still have 3 more?" Fang Chen blinked, then produced another 3. 12 orbs? Did you completely exhaust the fire well? Yi Qingxue gasped, then quickly said, "Quick! Give them to Lu Ruyan. She has just broken through to the Foundation establishment realm, so they might still have some effect on her." Fang Chen pursed his lips, invited Lu Xingyan over, handed him 3 fire spirit orbs, and then wrote, "Uncle." Lu Xingyan didn't recognize what they were, but sensing they were rare heavenly treasures, he swallowed them without a second thought. By the time Lu Ruyan rushed over after hearing the news, all 12 fire spirit orbs had already found their respective owners. Gazing at the 3 fire spirit orbs in Yi Qingshua's hand, Lu Ruyan exclaimed, "Qingxua, aren't these from the Zhu family? Where did you get them?" Yi Qingxua gestured towards Fang Chen with her lips. "How could I possibly get them? Fang Chen obtained them." What surprised her was that her father, Lu Zhengyan, and her sister, Lu Ruxue, had already consumed them and were now digesting their potency, but she alone had not received any. Lu Ruyan couldn't help but look at Fang Chen, who, indifferent to her, swallowed the last 3 fire spirit orbs in one gulp, then sat cross-legged on the spot to begin digesting them. Lu Ruyan felt deeply slighted. Giving the fire spirit orbs to Lu Ruxue was acceptable, and giving them to her father, Lu Zhengyan, was also understandable, as one was Fang Chen's fiancé and the other an elder. But to give them to Yi Qingshui instead, did that mean she was less important than an outsider? Yi Qingshui also felt that holding the fire spirit orbs was somewhat inappropriate for her, so she offered the 3 orbs to Lu Ruyan, saying, "Perhaps these 3 should go to you after all." A mist of indignation welled up in Lu Ruyan's eyes as she glared at Fang Chen and declared defiantly, "I don't want them. They're just fire spirit orbs, aren't they?" With that, she ran out, her eyes red. Yi Qingshui sighed faintly with helplessness. Why go to such lengths? These 3 fire spirit orbs were originally intended for Lu Ruyan. The group of 4 subsequently opened their eyes. Lu Zhengyan exclaimed excitedly, "I have made significant progress. I can now break through to the 2nd level of foundation establishment." There is a vast difference between the 1st and 2nd levels of foundation establishment. The former, capable of standing on their own, are considered high-tier powerhouses in Lone Boat City. In the future, the status of the Lu family would rise accordingly. Lu Ruxue exclaimed with delight, "I've broken through to the 7th level of qi refinement." Since Fang Chen gave her the mysterious liquid and the cultivation method without a cover, in less than a month, she had broken through from the 2nd to the 7th level of qi refinement, a truly astonishing feat. Fang Chen and Yi Qingshui, both at the 9th level of qi refinement, simultaneously reached the perfect stage of the 9th level under the influence of the fire spirit orb, increasing their spiritual power by 50%. Fang Chen clicked his tongue slightly, realizing the significant difference in spiritual power between the 9th level of qi refinement and its perfect stage. Facing the branch master again, he would no longer be unable to even penetrate his spiritual power. As long as he got close, he could unleash his swordplay and the lightning strike effect of his wooden sword. A piercing, shrill sound shot into the sky. A firecracker soared into the sky and exploded, creating a large cloud of smoke. Fang Chen's expression changed. Fang Chen immediately grabbed his wooden sword and, like an arrow shot from a bow, rushed towards the smoke, not forgetting to put on the mask of Shadow Guard No. 1. Yi Qingshui followed closely, saying, "Judging by the direction of the smoke, it seems to be the Qin family." After a brief thought, Fang Chen realized, the branch master is looking for medicine to heal his eyes. We cannot let him recover his vision. The branch master, having lost his 6 eyes, had his strength diminished by a third. Once his eyes recovered, his strength would reach its peak, and it would be difficult to stop him unless the city lord intervened. He dared not linger, immediately activated his swift shadow movement technique, transforming into a fleeting blur as he departed. Yi Qingshui's beautiful eyes widened in surprise. A movement technique? He actually cultivates a movement technique. As is widely known, movement techniques are among the rarest and most difficult to cultivate. It is extremely difficult for ordinary people to acquire them, and even if they are fortunate enough to encounter one, they are unlikely to master it. Yet, Fang Chen secretly possessed a profound movement technique, which demonstrated his extraordinary comprehension. Amidst her shock, Yi Qingshui couldn't help but sigh for Lu Ruyan, "You've missed out on a truly rare fiancé." The Lu family was not far from the Qin family, and coupled with Fang Chen's extraordinary movement technique, he arrived in less than half a cup of tea's time. Inside and outside the Qin family, everything appeared normal. The Qin family head and several clan members gazed in confusion at the smoke appearing above, seemingly perplexed as to its origin. The Bloodbat Palace had not arrived, it was a false alarm. Fang Chen suddenly realized, his expression changing, "It's a feint." the Blood Bat Palace deliberately diverted the city guard's attention, intending to attack elsewhere. But where would they choose to strike? Fang Chen's mind raced. If the branch master wants to seize medicine and isn't attacking the Qin family, then among the remaining well-known alchemy families. Fang Chen's heart sank as he realized the Chen family was the true target of the Blood Bat Palace. His expression drastically changed as he rushed across the rooftops, pushing his movement technique to its limits, and sped towards his destination. As he was about to reach the Chen family residence, he noticed a figure arriving almost simultaneously, who was none other than Shadow Guard number 2. She had been outside earlier, which allowed her to reach the Chen family residence before them. And, just like Fang Chen, she had deduced the Blood Bat Palace's true objective. Just as she was about to pull out a smoke bomb, she saw a smoke bomb launched from the rooftop before her. She immediately showed a look of pleasant surprise, exclaiming, "Shadow Guard number 1. Fang Chen nodded, then frowned as he looked at the tightly shut gates of the mansion. They might have already been attacked inside, he murmured. With a leap, he silently jumped into the courtyard. Meanwhile, in the backyard of the Chen family residence, Chen Yuchio's chest was stained crimson with blood, and several guards from the manor lay fallen around him. Yet, he still tightly protected Chen Siling and Lu Qinfa, who were behind him. Staring coldly at the one-eyed old man before him, Chen Yuchio spoke, "Why must you take lives?" Chen Yuchio was utterly shocked. The people before him were none other than the fierce and malevolent remnants of the Blood Bat Palace. Leading them was the branch master, a figure who struck fear into countless powerful cultivators. The branch master glanced at the last fallen protector at his feet. A fierce glint flickered in his eyes. Damn it! The intelligence was wrong. Isn't the Chen fellow supposed to be gravely ill and unconscious? The reason for attacking the Chen family was both to catch them off guard and because the Chen family, with only an orphan and a widow remaining, would be an easy target. However, upon breaking in, they discovered that Chen Yuchio had actually awakened. He had once been a master of the second level of foundation establishment. Even after being unconscious for many days, his foundation remained. His own protector, caught off guard, was killed instantly by a palm strike to the heart. A spent force, yet you dare to negotiate with this branch master? The branch master snorted coldly, charging forward with intense killing intent. His fists, brimming with fierce spiritual energy, struck forcefully, attacking Chen Siling, who was partially exposed. Chen Yuchio was greatly alarmed. Gritting his teeth, he furiously threw out 2 punches to resist. But with his severely injured body, how could he be a match for the branch master? With a thud, the stalemate lasted only a moment before the branch master's fists smashed past Chen Yuchio's arms, heading straight for his chest. Chen Yuchio coughed up a mist of blood, stumbling backward, and collapsing onto the ground, pinning down Lu Qinfa and her daughter whom he was protecting. The branch master advanced with a cold sneer. After confirming that Chen Yuchio was no longer able to fight, his fierce gaze fixed on Chen Siling. What a beautiful young girl. It's perfect. My eye is blind, so I need a bandit chieftain's wife to serve me from now on. He bent down and grabbed Chen Siling's shoulder. Chen Yuchio was desperate, but he found that his chest bones were broken, and he could no longer move his body. At this critical moment, suddenly, a piercing scream assaulted them. Chen Yuchio and the branch leader fixed their gazes upon it. It was, surprisingly, a nimble figure that had stealthily leapt into the backyard. With a single swift sword stroke, he slit the throat of a Blood Bat Palace member guarding the backyard gate. The branch leader erupted in furious anger, and as he clearly saw the mask and the unmistakably clear numbers upon it, his sole remaining eye blazed with an etched, profound hatred. In that brief moment of their shock, Fang Chen, employing astonishing footwork, swiftly moved in and effortlessly dispatched the last Blood Bat Palace member. Fang Chen raised his wooden sword, pointing it directly at the branch leader from afar. The branch leader, suddenly isolated, was filled with fury, declaring, "You arrive at a most opportune moment. New grievances and old animosities, I shall settle them all with you today." He charged forward with forceful strides. The unparalleled spiritual energy of his foundation establishment stage 2 continuously surged forth, causing dust and sand to billow from beneath his feet. Fang Chen summoned his utmost vigilance, simultaneously activating his movement technique and cultivation. Concurrently, His opening move was the ultimate form of the 7-star sword art, 7 stars point north. The potent sword momentum dispelled the spiritual energy surrounding him. The branch leader's pupils flickered, his extensive combat experience prompted him to decisively tilt his head back. Your cultivation has advanced. Previously, Fang Chen struggled to close the distance. This time, he nearly struck a vital point. Fang Chen remained entirely undeterred by his words, decisively executing his movement technique to leap backward. He narrowly evaded it. An exceedingly sharp leg whip swept upwards, grazing past the tip of his nose. It was a mere fraction away from shattering his jaw. Fang Chen inwardly acknowledged that was a perilous strike. The branch leader's preceding words were clearly intended to divert his attention, thereby allowing him to land a leg whip on a vital point. Engaging in combat with such a formidable expert, one who has carved their path through countless battles, demands the utmost vigilance. You are indeed quite cautious. The branch leader let out a cold snort, declaring, "But today, you shall not escape, even if you had wings." He lunged forward fiercely once more, and just as his fists were poised to strike, a formidable sword energy suddenly emerged from behind him. It was Lu Ruiyan, seizing the precise moment, who thrust a sword into his back at the instant he exerted his power. Having now attained the Foundation establishment realm, her sword energy was anything but ordinary. It effortlessly pierced through the spiritual energy that had proven impervious before, striking directly at the branch leader's vital point. The branch master's expression subtly shifted. He decisively abandoned his attack on Fang Chen, and as he lunged sideways, he performed a reverse golden hook, aiming for Lu Ruiyan's wrist. Caught off guard, Lu Ruiyan hastily retracted her sword to prevent her arm from being injured. However, this action played directly into the branch master's hands. Supporting himself with one palm on the ground, he abruptly sprang up into a handstand, his legs forming a scissor-like shape, clamping towards her neck. The shift from defense to offense occurred in mere moments. Lu Ruiyan's combat experience was shallow, and she was on the verge of having her neck clamped, then subsequently twisted and broken. The branch master suddenly cried out in pain. Fang Chen, arriving unexpectedly from behind, had leaped higher than him and, with a cunning angle, thrust his sword into the branch master's armpit. The intense pain forced the branch master to abandon his pursuit of Lu Ruiyan. The branch master dismissed the injury, his gaze growing even more ferocious. A cold glint flashed in Fang Chen's eyes. "You are the one who deserves to die." Without hesitation, he activated the lightning strike effect of his wooden sword. With a crackling surge, a powerful electrical current erupted, instantly coursing through the branch master's limbs, causing his body to stiffen as he plummeted headfirst to the ground. Lu Ruiyan watched, dumbfounded. Even more, it left Chen Yuqiu utterly speechless. He had actually taken down the branch master with a single sword strike. Yet, Fang Chen showed no intention of stopping. Gripping the sword hilt with both hands, he heavily knelt upon the stiffened body of the branch master. The wooden sword in his hand plunged deeply into the branch master's left chest. Blood surged outwards, impossible to staunch. Witnessing this, Lu Ruiyan naturally revealed a look of shock. You killed the branch master?" He had actually managed to kill this person in a direct confrontation. Fang Chen nodded slightly, then his ears twitched, and his expression subtly changed. He didn't even dare to pull out the wooden sword, instead performing a backflip and leaping away. The branch master, whose heart should have been pierced, suddenly sprang up without warning, chasing the retreating Fang Chen, his features contorted in a ferocious grimace as he lunged with both fists. "You little bastard, if my heart wasn't naturally on the right side, I would have fallen by your hand." It was precisely because Fang Chen heard a heartbeat that he realized something was amiss. His sword strike should have precisely pierced the opponent's heart, yet the heartbeat remained astonishingly normal. Fortunately, his reaction was swift, otherwise, he might have been defeated just now. He no longer held his sword, unable to utilize his swordsmanship. At this very moment, roars of anger echoed from outside the Chen family compound. "Remnants of the Bloodbat Palace, your demise is at hand." A powerful, commanding voice, yet not from the strongest individual in Solitary Boat City. The branch master's expression drastically changed. He decisively abandoned Fang Chen and suddenly attacked Lu Ruiyan, who was standing nearby. Lu Ruiyan's face hardened, and she immediately wielded her sword to attack, attempting to stall him while awaiting Yi Jifeng's intervention. But how could she be a match for the branch master? In just 3 to 5 exchanges, he seized an opening, snatched the sword from her hand, placed it against her neck, and then proceeded to take her hostage. Facing Yi Jifeng and the other powerful figures of solitary Boat City who had burst in, the branch master pressed the cold sword firmly against Lu Rian's neck. The sharp blade sliced a vivid line of blood across her neck. Fang Chen hesitated, not daring to advance rashly. Seeing Shadow Guard No. 1's anxious demeanor, Lu Rian felt ashamed of her own helplessness. She grasped the wooden sword in the branch master's chest and pulled it out. Yi Jifeng, however, showed apprehension, stating, "We cannot act. Lu Rian is a designated disciple of the Azure Cloud sect, no mishaps can be tolerated. If the Azure Cloud sect holds us accountable, I, as City Lord, cannot bear the responsibility." The branch master sneered, cautiously holding Lu Rian hostage as he slowly left the Chen family residence. He then mounted a horse and rapidly departed solitary Boat City, galloping towards the depths of the ancient mountains and forests. Yi Jifeng's jaw muscles twitched. "We cannot allow any harm to come to Lu Rian." Fang Chen also mingled within the crowd. The group followed the branch master's blood trail deep into the mountains. At a fork in the path, the group halted. Both were rugged mountain paths, making it impossible to determine which way the branch master had gone. They dared not split their forces when dealing with such a ruthless and dangerous individual, fearing they would be defeated one by one. The cavalry captain discovered signs of sweeping at one of the forks in the path. There were indications that pine needles had been swept here. Their eyes lit up. It appeared the branch master had realized his blood trail might attract pursuers, and had cunningly concealed it. The city lord's eyes gleamed with insight, and he quickly led the group in pursuit. Fang Chen also ran alongside them, but then his steps gradually slowed and stopped. Having exchanged blows with the branch master twice, what impressed Fang Chen most was his cunning and experience. If he intended to conceal his tracks, how could he possibly leave something behind? He must have deliberately left a small clue to divert his pursuers. Fang Chen wanted to call out to the city lord and the others, but what if he was mistaken? Let them split into 2 paths then. If they encountered him, resolving the branch master would not be difficult. If he encountered him, he would kill him if possible. If not, he would try to delay him, trusting that the city lord would then realize the deception. He immediately broke away from the group and pursued along the other fork in the path. Zhu Jianshan's gaze flickered, and he too silently chose the other fork, discreetly following behind. After half an hour of pursuit, Fang Chen suddenly noticed a few drops of fresh blood on the leaves by the roadside. His heart stirred. He had guessed correctly, this was the branch leader's true escape route. As the blood drops along the path grew more numerous, a glimmer of excitement appeared in Fang Chen's eyes. It seemed his sword strike was not as effortless as the branch leader had claimed. Although it hadn't pierced the heart, it must have injured a vital organ, otherwise the bleeding would not be so profuse. At this moment, his strength must be significantly diminished compared to before. Following the bloodstains, he arrived at the entrance of a mountain cave. Carved prominently above the cave entrance were the 3 characters, Floating Cloud Cave. A horse, abandoned nearby, was nonchalantly grazing on the wild grass by the roadside. The Bloodbat Palace's lair? Fang Chen was slightly taken aback. He recalled the jade bead from Lu Rian's birth, where a master had left a message stating that he had hidden something for her within the Floating Cloud Cave in Mount Xiangtian. This cave later became the lair of the Bloodbat Palace. Could it be that the Bloodbat Palace had occupied this very place? Holding his breath and concentrating, he cautiously crept into the cave. After the Qingyan sect's encirclement and suppression, the cave had been torched, and ashes lay everywhere. He also heard the voice of the branch leader. Why can't it still be opened? Fang Chen stealthily moved closer, concealing himself in the darkness. Inside the cave, a vast plaza came into view, where a statue stood erected. Lu Rian was tied up and discarded to the side, though her life was not in danger. Meanwhile, the branch leader, bleeding profusely, knelt before the statue, fumbling with its base, attempting to unlock something. Fang Chen's eyes gleamed. Could it be that the item left by the master was beneath the base? The Bloodbat Palace's reason for occupying this location was to unravel that very secret. Suddenly, a clumsy set of footsteps echoed from outside the cave, immediately startling the branch leader. Fang Chen also frowned, turning to look, and discovered that the newcomer was Zhu Jianshan. Zhu Jianshan did not notice Fang Chen, who was hidden in the shadows. Seeing the branch leader's severe injuries, Zhu Jianshan perceived an opportunity, planning to seize the spoils. By obtaining the branch leader's head and returning with it to the Qingyun sect, he would receive countless rewards. "You want my head?" The branch leader's gaze turned fierce as he immediately sprang up, showing no signs of severe injury. Zhu Jianshan's eyes flickered, but he bravely declared, "As a dignified disciple of the Qingyun sect, why would I fear a wounded remnant of the Bloodbat Palace?" He rushed forward, initiating a fight with him. However, the moment he engaged, Zhu Jianshan realized he had underestimated the branch master's current power. Despite his injuries, the branch master remained formidable. After 10 moves, Zhu Jianshan grew increasingly alarmed. His opponent's experience was exceptionally cunning, and several times, he narrowly escaped death. Fang Chen observed secretly, a hint of joy in his eyes. The branch master's strength has diminished considerably. Zhu Jianshan can now fight him for 10 rounds. In his prime, Zhu Jianshan's performance would not have been much better than Lu Rui's. The branch master exploited Zhu Jianshan's vulnerability, striking his right arm with a vicious palm, the immense force shattering it. Zhu Jianshan was sent flying backward, collapsing beside Lu Ruian. Lu Ruian's eyes showed a glimmer of hope. The branch master was clearly at the end of his tether. His previous move was the strongest he could muster, and he would only grow weaker. She had witnessed the branch master bleeding profusely, his vitality diminished by more than half. He was now held together solely by sheer will, with very little combat power remaining. The branch master charged with a ferocious expression, terrifying Zhu Jianshan, who felt his scalp tingle and lost all will to fight. Zhu Jianshan scrambled to his feet, ready to flee, but as he turned, he exposed his back to the branch master. The branch master sneered contemptuously. Realizing the extreme danger, Zhu Jianshan made a move no one could have anticipated. With a flick of his foot, he hooked Lu Ruian, lifting her to block himself from the branch master. Without a glance back, he turned and fled. Lu Ruian barely managed a startled cry before she was struck by the branch master's terrifying force, groaning in pain as she tumbled away. Completely disregarding Lu Ruian's fate, Zhu Jianshan ran outward in sheer terror. Just as he reached the edge of the plaza, a figure darted from the darkness like lightning, sweeping past him and catching the tumbling Lu Ruian. Zhu Jianshan was startled. Fang Chen also glared at him, his eyes filled with a cold intensity. Guilty, Zhu Jianshan immediately made a hasty escape. Soon, the urgent, receding sound of horse hooves could be heard from outside the cave. "What a useless wretch," scoffed the branch master. He spat forcefully, then turned to Fang Chen, his eyes filled mostly with hatred, yet devoid of any contempt. Clutching the profusely bleeding wound on his chest, his body swayed, and he struggled to maintain his footing. As Lu Ruian had stated, with half his vitality gone, he truly had little combat power left. To think I would fall into the hands of an inexperienced youth, how infuriating. He staggered to the statue, kneeling weakly before it, and touched its base with his hand. If only I could unlock the mechanism here, no one could kill me, not even Sect Master Qingyun. Fang Chen walked over, wooden sword in hand, and decisively thrust it into the branch master's right chest. The branch leader desperately tried to evade, but he was truly out of strength. His recent battle with Zhu Jianshan had exhausted his final reserves of power. With a gasp, the branch leader fiercely attempted to retaliate, yet he lacked even the strength to lift his palm. He could only look up and give a bitter laugh, saying, "Fine. But no one will ever get the secrets here." Fang Chen kicked him aside and looked towards the base of the stone statue. A circular hole was visible in the center of the base. Numerous marks surrounded it, left by the Bloodbat Palace's repeated attempts to pry it open. After a brief moment of thought, he took out the jade bead. Upon comparison, he discovered that the jade bead was precisely the same size as the circular hole. As he attempted to insert the jade bead, the stone statue's base rumbled, revealing that it had triggered a mechanism. The entire stone statue, along with its base, slowly rotated, revealing a small underground chamber 3 zhang wide, where a mysterious longsword emitting a purple glow was embedded. It was, astonishingly, a top-grade spirit artifact. The branch leader, still clinging to a sliver of life, widened his eyes. Fan Chen was also taken by surprise. The wooden sword in his hand was merely a low-grade magical artifact, unique in Lone Boat City, and even within the Qingyan sect, the highest-grade artifacts were likely also magical artifacts. Yet, here was a spirit artifact, and a top-grade one at that. His heart couldn't help but pound with excitement. Fan Chen then saw two jade boxes lying beside the purple sword. One was filled with a liquid, and the other contained two mysterious crimson pills. Even Fan Chen, a soul master, could not immediately identify them. The branch leader's pupils constricted sharply as he exclaimed, "The rumors were true. There's rootless heavenly water here to advance the Foundation establishment realm, and a divine item that can enhance one's spiritual root. I am the favored one, the favored one. It's all mine." He struggled, attempting to crawl towards the secret chamber. Alas, he ultimately succumbed to exhaustion and died, collapsing reluctantly before the secret chamber. His eyes remained wide open. How could he rest in peace, knowing that the treasure he had sought his entire life was now obtained by a mere youngster? Fan Chen's gaze burned with fervor as he prepared to jump down and retrieve them. Outside the cave, a commotion arose. The city lord had reacted and was bringing reinforcements. With no time to retrieve the items, he quickly took back the jade bead. The statue immediately rotated, covering the secret chamber once more. When Yi Jifeng arrived with the strong cultivators, they only witnessed Fan Chen making a swift cut with his wooden sword, and the branch leader's head rolled to the ground. All the powerful cultivators present were stunned. He actually killed the branch leader. Just who exactly was Shadow Guard No. 1? As Zhu Jianshan retreated with the main force, he was consumed by profound regret. Shadow Guard No. 1 concluded the battle with such swiftness, confirming that the branch leader's power was indeed as diminished as Lu Ruyan had claimed. He had, in vain, relinquished an immense merit to Shadow Guard No. 1. He then realized that since Shadow Guard No. 1 had slain the branch leader, it signified the failure of the mission he had entrusted to the Lu family. He then mused, "Tomorrow I will go to the Lu family to claim their heads. The entire Lu family will face imprisonment. And that woman, Lu Rushua, will she not be mine to manipulate? He. Upon the back of a blue eagle, Chen Jingdao and Lu Qingxian stood side by side, observing the scene unfolding beneath them. The commotion within the city was so considerable that it was impossible for them not to take notice. He remarked, "This Shadow Guard No. 1 has actually succeeded in slaying two martial artists at the second stage of Foundation establishment." Chen Jingdao stated with an appreciative tone. Lu Qingxian, too, expressed admiration, commenting, though he relied on a magical artifact and there was an element of fortune, his performance was exceptional in all regards. He must be an experienced martial artist who has cultivated for many years. She concurred, his performance is indeed remarkable. Her thoughts turned to Zhu Jianshan, and with a look of revulsion, she added, "In stark contrast, that outer disciple of our Azure Cloud sect is utterly deplorable." Chen Jingdao's brow furrowed as he stated, "This individual named Zhu Jianshan not only fled in a moment of peril but also abandoned his fellow disciples to face death at the hands of the enemy. He is destined to become a menace in the future." He instructed, "You shall handle him personally." Lu Qingxian nodded in affirmation, responding, "Understood." The two observed for a while longer, ensuring that no lingering remnants of the Blood Bat Palace remained in the vicinity. Chen Jingdao declared, "Let us depart and continue our vigil over the three-star Soul Master and the peerless prodigy from the ascending dragon path." He guided the Blue Eagle, preparing to turn it around and return. The jade pendant at his waist began to flash rapidly, emitting a faint, quivering hum. An urgent message from the Pavilion Master. Chen Jingdao's expression shifted slightly. Unless a matter of extreme gravity, the Pavilion Master would not dispatch an urgent communication. He swiftly removed the jade pendant, then with 2 fingers, seized and crushed it. The lingering tremor then coalesced into a concise message. "A beast tide has suddenly appeared." Chen Jingdao's expression changed dramatically. A beast tide? After a century, is the beast tide truly manifesting once more? He dared not hesitate, stating, "I must return to the heavenly secret pavilion at once. I am no longer able to watch over that soul master. I presume he will likewise be recalled by the Azure Cloud sect very shortly." Lu Qingxian's gaze grew solemn. A beast tide was an existential calamity from which no power could remain aloof. She nodded, saying, "Uncle Chen, please return first. I shall go and locate that 9th-grade spirit root, that peerless prodigy of the ascending dragon path." She had waded to the brink of despair and could now only settle for the alternative, locating the individual possessing the 9th-grade spirit root. She had met this individual once and was certain she would recognize him. Chen Jingdao nodded, escorted her back to Lone Boat City, and then ascended into the clouds. The powerful cultivators of Lone Boat City returned to the city, their spirits greatly invigorated. City Lord Yi Jifeng then announced the annihilation of the Bloodbat Palace's branch altar and hosted a grand banquet. The old masters who had emerged from their seclusion to welcome Lu Zheng, the 9th-rank spirit root, could not resist leaving their retreats once more to personally attend the feast. Their presence was not for the food and drink, but out of curiosity for this young prodigy who had single-handedly slain the branch altar's leader. The awakened Lu Ruyan watched the number 1 shadow guard beside her receive respectful toasts from all the city's powerful cultivators, falling into a daze. Though they were of the same age, why was the gap between her and him so vast, like heaven and earth? She had believed that by breaking through to the foundation establishment stage, she could contend with him, yet she had been saved by him once more. Before she was knocked unconscious by the branch altar leader, she had seen the figure of the number 1 shadow guard rushing swiftly towards them. Had he not intervened in time, she would most likely have crashed onto the steps. Gazing at the mask before her, she yearned to know what kind of countenance lay beneath it. When had such a prodigy, whom she could only look up to, appeared? She would never have the chance to know, for the Shadow Guard's initial purpose was to eliminate the remnants of the Bloodbat Palace. With the remnants purged, the Shadow Guard would disband on its own after the banquet. A wave of melancholy washed over her heart. She raised her wine cup and asked. Fang Chen's lips curled into a smirk. He replied indifferently. Lu Ruyan felt even more disheartened, raising her cup and saying. Fang Chen drained his cup in one gulp. As expected, the Shadow Guards silently disbanded after the banquet. Yi Qingxue permitted them to keep their masks, a symbol of honor for the young prodigies of Lone Boat City. Fang Chen deliberately slowed his pace, waiting until Lu Ruyan had been back at the Lu residence for a long time before taking off his mask in an alley and nonchalantly returning to his own residence. To his surprise, Lu Ruyan was not asleep. Instead, she was practicing swordplay in the central courtyard with a tipsy air, seemingly venting her inner emotions. Seeing Fang Chen return, her expression involuntarily turned slightly cold. Fang Chen rolled his eyes and wrote. Lu Ruyan said nothing, picked up a spare sword from the ground, and tossed it to Fang Chen. Fang Chen held the sword. He turned to leave, but Lu Ruyan, disregarding his agreement or not, lunged at him with her sword. Fang Chen was both annoyed and amused. He wondered what madness had possessed her tonight, as it was previously utterly impossible for her to ask him to practice swordplay with her. Seeing her sword thrust, Fang Chen instinctively executed a. Lu Ruyan froze. Fang Chen wished he could slap himself. He had forgotten to switch identities. Fortunately, Lu Ruyan had consumed a significant amount of wine at the banquet, clearly intoxicated and not entirely clear-headed. You must have made a mistake, right? How could you possibly know the sword techniques of Shadow Guard No. 1? Yet, you merely paused. Lu Ruyan ceased speaking, dispiritedly dropping her sword. Never mind, she declared. Watching her depart, Fang Chen sighed while gazing at the moon, gripping the sword in his hand, and fluidly performed the 3 stances of the 7-star sword art once, his posture elegant, his sword force like a rainbow. Fang Chen tossed the branch leader's head under the bed, then retrieved a bottle of Foundation Establishment pills from his satchel. It's time to break through to Foundation Establishment, he murmured. Fang Chen was somewhat agitated. Ever since the seed sprouted, he had dreamed of successfully achieving Foundation Establishment, which would allow him to pluck various mysterious fruits from the primordial ancient tree. Filled with excitement, he swallowed the Foundation Establishment pill in one gulp. The powerful and fierce medicinal energy raged and surged within his body like a flood, causing an intensely unbearable sensation of swelling and pain. As he approached Foundation Establishment, large beads of sweat quickly appeared on his forehead, but considering the benefits that awaited him after breaking through, he endured the severe pain. The potent medicinal effects persisted until midnight. By the time his face was pale and his body drenched, a spring appeared in his dantian, the mark of foundation establishment, the spirit pool. All the spiritual energy previously stored in his meridians had liquefied and gathered within the spirit pool. Moreover, his spiritual energy at this moment was significantly stronger than when he had perfected the 9th level of chi condensation. Should he encounter a master like the branch leader again, he dared not claim victory, but it certainly wouldn't be as challenging. Fang Chen's confidence soared, and he eagerly employed an ability exclusive to Foundation Establishment cultivators. As he closed his eyes, his consciousness gradually penetrated his flesh, and within his internal organs, he perceived a space as dark as ink, where a spring gushed forth water. It was precisely the Foundation Establishment spirit pool. Beside the spring, an ancient tree soared to the heavens. Excited, he approached the ancient tree, observing a fruit near the ground, within which was sealed the profound grade high-level cultivation technique, the dragon-seeking scripture, which made his mouth go dry. He attempted to leap, and this time, there was no invisible force suppressing him as before. He felt light and effortlessly jumped, grasping the fruit and plucking it. "I finally have it!" Fang Chen exclaimed excitedly. How incredibly fast would one cultivate with this profound grade high-level cultivation technique? Just then, he suddenly heard a whooshing sound above his head, as if something was falling. It turned out that when he had moved the branch earlier, another fruit of similar height had also fallen. He instinctively caught it, his pupils constricting. A profound grade high-level palm technique, the swimming dragon palm. One profound grade cultivation technique was already extraordinary, but now another palm technique appeared. Even the Qingyan sect seemed unlikely to possess profound grade high-level cultivation methods. Fang Chen's heart pounded. He couldn't help but look upwards again, attempting to climb higher and pluck more fruits. However, after only a few steps, he once again felt the suppressive force. A reminder appeared: "You may continue plucking." Fang Chen felt a great pity, yet he couldn't resist glancing at the nearest fruit, and once he saw it, his eyes could no longer leave it. A Earth-grade low-level soul cultivation technique, the 3 soul-slaying forms. It's a soul secret art, and an Earth-grade one at that. Fang Chen gasped, drawing a sharp breath. Soul cultivation techniques were undoubtedly the most mysterious, capable of catching enemies off guard and often killing invisibly. Possessing spiritual power far beyond ordinary people, if he were to cultivate soul secret arts, wouldn't it be? Just thinking about it made Fang Chen's mouth dry. One must be in the core formation realm to obtain it. He could only regretfully withdraw his gaze, looking at the 2 fruits in his palm. How could he obtain the cultivation technique sealed within? He tried to take a bite, and information about a portion of the cultivation technique appeared in his mind. Fang Chen remarked, "What a way to not waste food." Upon finishing both fruits, his consciousness returned to his body. Opening his eyes, he saw no fruits in his palm, yet 2 complete cultivation techniques now resided in his mind. The dragon-seeking scripture. "Let me try to see what makes a profound grade high-level mental cultivation technique different," he said, rubbing his hands together in anticipation. However, at this very moment, an urgent knocking sound echoed from outside the door. Zhu Jianshan had arrived. Fang Chen's eyes narrowed, and he could only temporarily set aside the thought of cultivating. He saw Lu Rushua holding a bag, which she unhesitatingly thrust into Fang Chen's arms, saying, "Don't let our Lu family drag you down." Feeling the heavy bag, and seeing the corner of a large denomination banknote peeking out, Fang Chen's heart warmed slightly. This was not just Lu Rushua's doing, but also Lu Xingyan's intention, he presumed. They had given him all of the Lu family's valuables, as he had not yet officially become the Lu family's son-in-law, meaning the Azure Cloud sect would not issue a warrant for his arrest. "Why should I leave?" Fang Chen smiled faintly. "It just so happens I want to settle a score with this young Master Zhu." A cold glint shot from his eyes. If he hadn't, by sheer luck, slain the branch sect leader, what fate would have awaited the Lu family? What fate would have awaited Lu Rushua? Disregarding Lu Rushua's dissuasion, he retrieved the bag from under the bed. At this moment, the family members were no longer visible by the tables in the hall. Only Lu Xingyan stood with his hands behind his back, preparing to face the calamity of his clan's annihilation alone. Zhu Jianshan, along with his men, burst in aggressively. "Your Lu family members certainly ran off quickly." Lu Xinyan's face was devoid of expression, exhibiting an attitude of having accepted everything. He had, therefore, dismissed all Lu family members, preparing to bear the burden alone. You abuse the power of the Azure Cloud sect, retribution will come for you sooner or later. Lu Xinyan said coldly. Zhu Jianshan's face revealed a mocking expression, still believing such childish words? Only incapable wastes comfort themselves in such a way. Lu Xinyan clenched his fists. He wanted to retort, but the truth was, it was indeed so, with only one thing remaining. Good people die young, while villains live for 1,000 years. Zhu Jianshan pulled up a stool, sat down, and, crossing his legs, said, besides, I, Zhu, am acting on the orders of the Azure Cloud sect, so you can't say I'm wrong. Where's the branch sect leader's head? Lu Xinyan's eyes glinted coldly. There isn't one. How could the Lu family possibly obtain the head of that branch sect leader? Even if he weren't injured, let alone at his peak, he still couldn't contend with that branch sect leader. Zhu Jianshan let out a hearty laugh. In that case, I, Zhu, will have to handle this officially. The Lu family failed to complete the task assigned by the Qingyun sect on time. By law, their property must be confiscated and they must be charged. Seal off the Lu family estate. With a clamor, his men immediately swarmed through the Lu family estate like wolves and tigers, their faces alight with excitement. Such a lucrative task as confiscating property doesn't come around often. Lu Xinyan opened his mouth, but did not intervene. After all the important valuables had already been taken away by his clansmen. A hint of mockery appeared on Zhu Jianshan's face as he spoke with a half-smile. Do you perhaps think your Lu clansmen have all fled with their belongings? Lu Xinyan immediately had a terrible premonition. Zhu Jianshan clapped his hands mockingly. Bring them over, let Master Lu take a look. Another contingent of men entered from outside, each binding a bruised, disheveled prisoner. Among them was Wang Yingfeng, and many other members of the Lu family. Everyone was present, except for Lu Ruyan. Lu Xinyan was greatly astonished. Why didn't you escape? Zhu Jianshan burst into laughter. Escape? I had already laid out an inescapable net outside your Lu mansion long ago. Besides Lu Ruyan, not a single one of your Lu family members will get away. Zhu Jianshan's laughter quickly ceased, his expression changing as he asked, where's Fan Chen? And Lu Ruxue? This was the true reason he had gone to such lengths to deal with the Lu family. One was the man he wished to dismember, and the other, the woman he intended to cruelly exploit. Yet, they were absent. Several pained screams echoed, and a figure, spitting blood, flew backward from the backyard, landing heavily before Zhu Jianshan. He looked up and saw that it was Fang Chen, walking unhurriedly, hand in hand with Lu Ruxue. Fang Chen picked up a pen and paper, a hint of disdain curling at the corner of his lips. As the saying goes, when enemies meet, their eyes blaze with renewed fury. Zhu Jianshan laughed coldly. Fine, then I'll grant your wish. He deeply desired Fang Chen's death. Fang Chen, expressionless, picked up his pen and wrote, Why are you arresting me? Seeing Fang Chen's defiance even at death's door, Zhu Jianshan chuckled. What? Have you perhaps brought the head of the branch leader? You are simply disregarding the Qingyun sect's orders. Lu Xinyan was secretly anxious, but seeing that not a single one of his clansmen had escaped and all were captured, he could only sigh helplessly. Fang Chen, too, would still be captured, and the Lu family's fate was already sealed. Just as Lu Xinyan and all the Lu family members felt utterly despairing, Fang Chen casually dropped the bundle in his hand, placing it before Zhu Jianshan. A note unfolded in his hand. Young Master Zhu. Zhu Jianshan paused, not understanding Fang Chen's intention. Staring at the slightly bloodstained bundle, he couldn't help but laugh. You're not suggesting that's the head of the branch leader in there, are you? He had personally witnessed Shadow Guard No. 1 sever the head of the branch leader. Unless Fang Chen was Shadow Guard No. 1, where could he possibly have gotten the head? Fang Chen sat down leisurely, picked up a bowl of tea, and said expressionlessly, You'll know if you just look for yourself. Zhu Jianshan's smile deepened, and he laughed heartily. Very well. Since you won't shed tears until you see the coffin, I'll indulge you. Bring out the head and let's see what kind of head our young Master Fang intends to fool us with. It's not molded from clay, is it? His attendants couldn't help but burst into laughter. A confidant immediately stepped forward to unwrap the bundle, then exclaimed in surprise, "Young master, it really is a human head." Zhu Jianshan continued to laugh loudly. "Not bad, at least it's a real head. Do you think this will allow you to get away with it? I've personally fought the branch leader before." Hearing this, the hearts of the Lu family members sank. They, too, had thought Fang Chen intended to pass off a fake as real to get through today's ordeal. But for Zhu Jianshan to be so formidable, having personally clashed with the branch leader, meant Fang Chen not only failed to deceive them, but would also bear the heavier crime of attempting to defraud the Qingyun sect. Zhu Jianshan was in an excellent mood. He grabbed the hair of the severed head, lifted it, and quipped, "Let me see, is this the head of the branch leader? You've compounded your crimes, haven't you?" When the swinging head finally settled, revealing its brutal face and wide, unseeing eyes before Zhu Jianshan, he was terrified beyond belief. The opponent's man-eating expression from their previous encounter immediately flashed through his mind. He shrieked in fear and threw away the head he was holding. This sudden action left everyone from the Lu family, and even Zhu Jianshan's own men, stunned. What's wrong? Has he never seen a severed head before? To be so scared. Fang Chen calmly took a sip of tea, then, with a half-smile, picked up his brush and said, "It seems young Master Zhu has recognized it." Zhu Jianshan remained shaken. He looked at the head again in disbelief, able to confirm with a single glance that it was indeed the branch leader's head. Seeing Fang Chen's mocking words, he looked annoyed and declared, "This is impossible. I saw with my own eyes that Shadow Guard number 1 severed that head. Why is it in your hands?" Everyone else was also shocked. This head is actually real? If Shadow Guard number 1 killed him, why is the head in Fang Chen's possession? Fang Chen smiled, then lifted his brush and stated, "That's none of your concern. The task you gave the Lu family was simply to obtain the head of the branch leader." The Lu family members suddenly perked up. Lu Jingyan exclaimed in pleasant surprise, "Exactly. As long as the task is completed. When the Azure Cloud sect assigned tasks in the past, even if we hired Shadow Guard number 1, you had no right to question it. Release my clansmen now, or I'll report you to the Azure Cloud sect." Zhu Jianshan's retainers immediately released the Lu family members, feeling a pang of guilt and daring not to make things difficult further. In the past, this was indeed the case. Some missions were extremely challenging. Families assigned such difficult tasks often had to spend vast sums to hire experts to assist in their completion. The Azure Cloud sect had never voiced any objection to this practice, essentially giving its tacit approval. Zhu Jianshan, however, could not accept this. Time and again, he had failed to get the better of the small Lu family. "Who told you to release them?" Zhu Jianshan raised his hand and struck a nearby retainer, sending him flying. His eyes glowed faintly crimson as he glared fiercely at Fang Chen. "I don't care about the rules of your Azure Cloud sect, my rules are the only rules that matter. I want the head taken personally by your Lu family, not by others. Seize all the Lu family members. Who dares to resist?" The Lu family members were filled with a mix of shock and fury. Lu Jingyan roared, "Zhu Jianshan!" He truly hadn't expected Zhu Jianshan to be so audacious, disregarding even the rules of the Azure Cloud sect. Zhu Jianshan kicked away the stool beneath him, his hair flying in his rage, and bellowed, "What if I am presumptuous? This is Guizhou City. I, Zhu Jianshan, call the shots here. Not even the King of Heaven himself would be of any use." He lunged forward, launching a fierce strike at Lu Jingyan. Lu Jingyan was enraged and would no longer tolerate it. He retaliated, engaging him in a fierce battle. However, Zhu Jianshan was, after all, a disciple of the Azure Cloud sect, and Lu Jingyan was burdened by old injuries. In just 3 rounds, Lu Jingyan was sent flying several meters by a palm strike, spitting out blood incessantly. Zhu Jianshan's aura surged with murderous intent. Does anyone else wish to resist? The Lu family members fell silent like cicadas in winter, as even Lu Jingyan, their strongest, had been defeated. The retainers no longer had any doubts. They pounced on the Lu family members like hungry wolves. A servant lunging towards Lu Rushua was sent flying back with a scream, the crisp sound of breaking bones echoing from his body. Zhu Jianshan turned his head and saw that Fang Chen had made his move. His eyes revealed a strong sense of vexation. Openly defying the Qingyun sect's orders? I, Zhu Jianchen, am enforcing the sect's rules. He was eager for Fang Chen to make a move, so he could justifiably kill him. Fang Chen set down his teacup, rose to his full height, and looked at him indifferently. He casually wrote a note. Zhu Jianchen laughed in anger, a mere waste. When did you dare to question me, a disciple of the Qingyun sect? I'll let you witness my strength, Zhu Jianchen's strength. His fist, carrying a powerful gust of wind, slammed violently forward. Lu Jingyan watched with a pounding heart, exclaiming, Xiao Chen. Lu Rushua's face also turned pale, and she cried out, don't fight back. How could Fang Chen possibly withstand a blow from a Foundation establishment realm expert? Zhu Jianchen sneered, trying to run? Who told you to be so reckless as to contend with me, Zhu Jianchen? Fang Chen stood his ground. It was only when Zhu Jianchen's fist was 3 feet from his chest that Fang Chen slowly raised his palm, extended it, and caught his fist. Zhu Jianchen sneered inwardly, how inexperienced. To dare to block such a powerful fist with an open palm? This will surely break his fingers. With a sneer, he suddenly exerted more force, intending to make Fang Chen experience the pain of broken fingers. Then, he could no longer smile. A surge of spiritual energy, even purer than his own, emanated from Fang Chen's palm and flowed into his fingers. With a grasp, like an iron vice, his fist was squeezed tightly, unable to exert even a shred of strength. At the same time, Fang Chen finally looked him directly in the eye, a hint of coldness radiating from his indifferent gaze. The implication was, quite a surprise, isn't it? Zhu Jianchen tried to pull back his fist, but was astonished to discover that he, a dignified martial artist of the Foundation establishment realm, had his fist effortlessly held by Fang Chen. What's going on with you? He was starting to panic. Only then did he remember he had another fist available, which he swung towards Fang Chen. Alas, it was too late. Fang Chen pulled forcefully on his arm, causing Zhu Jianchen to stumble forward, then delivered a powerful knee strike directly to his abdomen. Zhu Jianchen doubled over in pain, like a shrimp. He, a disciple of the esteemed Qingyun sect, was actually being easily thrashed by a former waste. He let out a furious roar, unleashing a surging wave of Foundation establishment spiritual energy, star-shattering finger. He had actually resorted to using a cultivation technique, in a mid-grade yellow tier 1 at that. Fang Chen remained calm, even having the leisure to write down a note, powerless fury. He casually employed his movement technique, approaching with unexpected speed, and slapped him across the face. Zhu Jianchen couldn't believe it, even when using his movement technique and in his strongest state, he had still been slapped. The stinging pain provoked his pride, sending him into a fit of rage. He roared, I'll kill you. Slap. His response was another loud slap. Zhu Jianchen was absolutely furious, declaring, you must die. You must die today. Slap. It was still a slap. No matter how Zhu Jianchen wielded his proud strength, his fate was always a casually delivered slap. Slap. I'll fight you to the death. Slap. I'll kill your whole family. Slap. Everyone in the Lu family was stunned, staring in disbelief at the incredibly bizarre scene before them. The numerous retainers also stood bewildered, as if seeing ghosts, no longer daring to continue apprehending the Lu family members. Reflected in their eyes, the arrogant Zhu Jianchen, a disciple of the Azure Cloud sect and a Foundation establishment realm cultivator, was being slapped step by Fang Chen, from the main hall all the way out of it. No matter how Zhu Jianchen resisted, he was mercilessly slapped. Eventually, both sides of his face were a bloody mess, blood gushed from his nose, and his entire face was disfigured. Zhu Jianchen finally realized he was no match for Fang Chen. Gritting his teeth, he fled with a hateful gaze. Before exiting the main gate, he glared venomously at Fang Chen, all right, you just wait. Between you and me, one must die. Just await the thunderous wrath of my Zhu family. Fang Chen's eyes gleamed with a cold light. With a slight movement of his foot, he leaped in pursuit. Leaving the Lu family, he unreservedly unleashed his full movement technique. Before long, he caught up to the venomous-faced Zhu Jianchen on a secluded street. Zhu Jianchen muttered incessantly, I'll kill this guy. He had never suffered such humiliation in his entire life. But just then, a perfectly clear reply came from behind him, I'm afraid you won't get the chance. Fang Chen had caught up, speaking with an indifferent expression. Zhu Jianchen turned his head and saw it was Fang Chen. Immediately realizing something was amiss, he exclaimed in shock, "You're not mute?" Fang Chen expressionlessly drew his wooden sword and pointed it at him from a distance. "Since one of us must die, then you shall perish." Upon seeing the wooden sword, Zhu Jianchen's face drastically changed. "Isn't the Shadow Guard one's sword? Why is it with you?" A terrifying thought emerged in his mind, and he shivered. His lips trembled as he stuttered, You are Shadow Guard one? But how is this possible? One was a well-known former waste, the other a peerless prodigy and king of Lone Boat City, capable of slaying a Foundation establishment Layer 2 cultivator with only chi refining Layer 9. How could two individuals as vastly different as heaven and earth be the same person? Fang Chen said lightly, "Congratulations." He slowly took out a mask and put it on his face. The number 1, symbolizing invincibility, made Zhu Jianchen gasp and ask in utter dread, You really are Shadow Guard 1? Impossible. He could not accept that the waste he had always despised was, in fact, the first Shadow Guard, someone far superior to himself. Fang Chen's voice grew colder. "From the first moment you coveted Lu Ruxue, you showed no restraint, challenging my bottom line repeatedly. No one can save you now." With a swift movement, he darted forward, launching his swordsmanship without hesitation. Zhu Jianchen was terrified. Having witnessed the horror of the first Shadow Guard firsthand, he knew just how formidable his opponent was. Frightened, he turned to flee, but it was futile. His back was completely exposed, revealing vulnerabilities everywhere. He was not lucky enough to find a scapegoat this time. Fang Chen brought his sword down. Just then, a flying beast swooped down. Standing upon it was a woman in purple, with a slender and elegant figure and a peerlessly beautiful countenance. Her delicate brows furrowed as she commanded, "Stay your blade." Zhu Jianchen was overjoyed, like a drowning man finding salvation. "Senior Sister Lu, this person is rebelling." Fang Chen's pupils also constricted slightly. "Isn't this Lu Qingxian, whom I once encountered at the City Lord's manor?" She had also left a projection in the Dragon Ascension path. Could she also be from the Qingyan sect? Did she intend to protect Zhu Jianchen? With this thought, he not only did not stop, but instead accelerated his thrust. Lu Qingxian actually let out a low cry, "Presumptuous! Stop at once!" The killing intent in Fang Chen's chest deepened, and without a moment's hesitation, he decisively unleashed 7 stars align north. A chilling flash of light pierced Zhu Jianchen's chest from top to bottom, impaling his heart. Zhu Jianchen ran a few steps forward for momentum, but as his heart was damaged, his body gradually lost all strength and he collapsed to the ground. He gasped for air, like a fish out of water, pleading unwillingly, "Senior Sister Lu, quickly save me." Lu Qingxian flew down and immediately stepped forward to examine him, discovering that the sword had pierced his heart with incredible precision. She then knew he was beyond saving. Her beautiful eyes turned cold as she looked at Fang Chen. "How dare you? How dare you arbitrarily kill a disciple of the Qingyan sect?" Lu Qingxian emanated overwhelming spiritual power. Zhu Jianchen deserved to die, but he should have died under the rules of the Qingyan sect, not arbitrarily slaughtered by an outsider. The nature of the two is fundamentally different. Fang Chen remained unfazed, stating coldly, "He deserved his death. I was merely clearing a nuisance for the Qingyan sect." Lu Qingxian's beautiful eyes grew slightly cold. "There's no need for you to meddle. I would have dealt with him myself. Are you just relying on your advanced age and a few decades more experience to brazenly kill members of the Qingyan sect? Considering your merit in slaying the branch master, I will spare you this time. But if there's a next time..." Fang Chen rolled his eyes and retorted, "You're the old one." Lu Qingxian was stunned. "You're quite interesting. You're decades old yourself, yet you call me, a woman in her early 20s, an old woman? Nonsense." Lu Rian ran over, panting, "Senior Sister Lu. Auntie Lu. Did you just execute him?" It turned out that Lu Qingxian was summoned by Lu Rian. Upon hearing about the matters concerning the Lu family, Lu Qingxian was immediately enraged and decisively rushed over, determined to eliminate Zhu Jianchen, whom she considered a menace. Lu Qingxian pursed her lips, and Lu Rian looked up, exclaiming in surprise, "Shadow Guard number 1. She dashed over, her eyes sparkling as she looked at him, and couldn't help but introduce herself. "It's me, Shadow Guard number 1. My name is Lu Ruyan. And you, young master? Could you tell me your real name?" Lu Qingxian's eyes showed a strange expression. "You call him young master?" Lu Ruyan was stumped by the question. "We're all peers, is there anything wrong with calling him young master?" Lu Qingxian looked at Fang Chen in shock. "Isn't he an uncle in his decades?" The veins on Fang Chen's forehead throbbed. What 18-year-old youth can tolerate being called an uncle? "You are the uncle." Lu Ruyan realized Lu Qingxian had misunderstood something and explained. "Senior Sister Lu, our Shadow Guard team is selected from the young prodigies of Lone Boat City, and the oldest among us is no more than 18. Lu Qingxian gasped, gazing at Fang Chen in disbelief. 18 years old? 9th level Qi refinement? Killed a 2nd level foundation establishment cultivator by himself? Even I couldn't remotely achieve that at his age. She and Chen Dao had both subconsciously assumed that Shadow Guard number 1's exceptional prowess was due to many years of cultivation and extensive experience, yet he was only 18 years old. Lu Qingxian suddenly shuddered, her eyes burning as she asked, "Not long ago, was it you who defeated the projections of myself, Chen Dao, and Yun Tianzhou on the ascending dragon path?" Fang Chen calmly replied, "What if it was?" Lu Qingxian's heart pounded wildly. "It really is him. The peerless prodigy of the ascending dragon path." She exclaimed with immense excitement, "I've searched high and low for you, only to find you effortlessly. You truly have made me search for a long time." Watching her alternate between shock and laughter, uttering incomprehensible words, Fang Chen couldn't help but feel unnerved. He glanced at Zhu Jianshan, confirmed he was utterly dead, and decisively departed. "Don't leave yet." Lu Qingxian quickly chased after him, and her pursuit only made Fang Chen more uneasy. He decisively activated Lone Swan's skimming shadow to its utmost, leaping onto rooftops with incredible agility, then vanished in a few flashes, disappearing into an unknown street. Lu Qingxian chased for a while and couldn't help but be surprised. What's going on? With my cultivation level, I actually can't catch up to him. Could he have used a movement technique? Such techniques are extremely difficult to master, few in the Azure Cloud sect have successfully comprehended one. Doesn't this imply his comprehension is extraordinary? Lu Ruyan caught up curiously and asked in astonishment, "Senior Sister Lu, why are you chasing him?" Lu Qingxian replied, "Vice Pavilion Master Chen and I have been waiting for him to appear for nearly half a month. This person's talent allows for a direct promotion to the Heavenly Secret Pavilion, and his future achievements will be no less than my father's." Lu Ruyan pursed her red lips, her beautiful eyes flashing with profound shock. She knew Shadow Guard number 1's talent was astonishing, but only when it came from Lu Qingxian's mouth did she truly understand just how astonishing it was. The esteemed daughter of the Azure Cloud Sect Master and Vice Pavilion Master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion had both specifically waited for him to appear for an entire half-month. Inwardly, an uncontrollable urge surged. I must thoroughly investigate who Shadow Guard number 1 truly is. Lu Qingxian's eyes gleamed with determination. She was resolved to secure this peerless prodigy. Lu Ruyan also felt immensely curious about Shadow Guard number 1's true identity and said, "I'll help Senior Sister investigate as well." The Zhu family mansion. Wails of sorrow echoed throughout the mansion, and Zhang Yuxiu wept uncontrollably. "You met such a tragic end." Beside him stood an unfamiliar young man. "Young Master Zhong, you must bring justice for my Shin'er." Zhang Yuxiu's eyes showed a plea for help. "You are an inner disciple of the Qingyun sect, there's no one else who can advocate for us now. Just moments ago, the city lord's guards brought back Zhu Jianshan's body and conveyed the lord's message. Zhu Jianshan deserved his death, and the matter was closed. But with her son having died mysteriously, how could Zhang Yuxiu simply let the matter rest?" Coincidentally, Zhong Qizhan, the inner disciple who had always protected Zhu Jianshan, arrived to retrieve the fire spirit pearl. Zhong Qizhan, meticulous as dust, examined Zhu Jianshan's body, revealing a trace of solemnity. This person's swordsmanship is exquisite, a single strike was fatal. It seems junior brother Zhu provoked a formidable character. He then discovered a line of blood-written characters on the inside of Zhu Jianshan's sleeve, albeit crookedly. Upon careful examination, he was still able to decipher them. "Do not provoke Fang Chen." "Who is Fang Chen?" Zhong Qizhan inquired. Zhang Yuxiu quickly looked over as well, a puzzled expression on her face. Fang Chen? The live-in son-in-law of the Lu family. Why did Chen leave a message not to provoke him? She absolutely did not believe that Fang Chen had killed her son. Zhong Qixin revealed a cold glint in his eyes. No matter who he is, since my junior brother left his name before his death, he cannot be unrelated to my junior brother's demise. I will make a trip to the Lu family to prepare for Master's arrival, and I will interrogate this Fang Chen myself. As for the warning do not provoke Fang Chen, Zhong Qixin dismissed it entirely. After all, he was an inner disciple of the Qingyun sect, while Zhu Jianxin was merely an outer disciple. Those whom Zhu Jianxin dared not provoke, Zhong Qixin certainly could. Completely unaware that Zhong Qixin had set his sights on him, Fang Chen, having resolved the Lu family's great trouble, returned to his room as if nothing had happened. He eagerly began to cultivate the Dragon-Seeking Sutra. As soon as he activated this cultivation method, he discovered its extraordinary nature. The speed at which it absorbed spiritual energy was more than 5 times faster than before. Spiritual energy from across the entire Lu family estate surged towards him like a roaring tide, causing the spiritual power in his spirit pool to continuously increase. Once one reached the foundation establishment realm, cultivation advancement became considerably more challenging. Even with the aid of such a powerful cultivation method, a full day of practice only resulted in a slight improvement. At this rate, it would be difficult to break through to the second level of foundation establishment even within a month. He thought of the ascending dragon path. It was said that excellent performance was rewarded. Having stopped at the 11th level last time, would there be a reward if he succeeded in this challenge? With anticipation in his eyes, he once again arrived at the ascending dragon path. Donning the mask of Shadow Guard No. 1, he immediately began the challenge. Floor 1, Floor 2, Floor 3. When he defeated Yun Tianzhou on the 10th floor, his expression remained relaxed. Last time, their exchange lasted hundreds of rounds. This time, he passed in just 2 or 3 moves. He solemnly stepped into the 11th floor. The projection was of a graceful and handsome young man, who elegantly stated, Nangong Luyun, Foundation Establishment Stage 1. The two quickly engaged, and Fang Chen immediately felt immense pressure. Though both were in the foundation establishment stage, Fang Chen was still employing a high-grade yellow-tear sword technique. Yet, after dozens of moves, they remained evenly matched. The opponent's combat experience was exceptionally seasoned, in no way inferior to his own. His moves were orderly and flawless, revealing no openings. Moreover, the cultivation technique he practiced was far superior to Fang Chen's. Several times, Fang Chen nearly lost, but fortunately, he leveraged his movement technique to sustain the battle. At the 200th round, he discovered a flaw in Nangong Luyun and defeated him with a single sword strike. Phew! Fang Chen was drenched in sweat, utterly exhausted. What happened? The strength of the projection on the 11th floor had practically multiplied several times over. He felt that this individual was even more formidable than the branch leader at Foundation Establishment Stage 2. The effort was worth it. As the projection dissipated, a snow-white pill appeared on the spot. This is a low-grade Foundation Establishment pill. Fang Chen was overjoyed. This was exclusive to the Qingyun sect, a pill capable of enhancing the cultivation of Foundation Establishment Stage martial artists, completely unavailable outside. He immediately consumed it and began cultivating on the spot. As the pill was ingested, a powerful medicinal force transformed into incredibly dense spiritual energy, permeating his spiritual pool, where the spiritual power visibly surged upward at an astonishing rate. When the medicinal effect dissipated, his cultivation had increased by a full 10%. Fang Chen couldn't help but exclaim, one low-grade Foundation Establishment pill is 10 times more effective than an entire night of my arduous cultivation. If it were a top-grade Foundation Establishment pill, one might be equivalent to 100 days of cultivation, wouldn't it? He glanced at the 12th floor and departed without hesitation. If the 11th floor was so challenging, how much more so would the 12th be? Upon reaching downstairs, he pondered for a moment and murmured, I should prepare some qi condensing fluid and cultivation techniques for Lu Ruxue. No sooner had he left than Lu Qingxian and Lu Ruyan arrived at the location. Sensing the shattering of her projection, Lu Qingxian quickly rushed over. Watching the receding figure of Shadow Guard number 1, Lu Rian regretfully remarked, "A step too late." Meanwhile, Lu Qingxian's eyes sparkled with a keen glint. Who exactly is Lu Ruxue? She had heard very clearly that Shadow Guard number 1 intended to give Lu Ruxue qi cultivation liquid and cultivation techniques. What kind of relationship would prompt someone to help Lu Ruxue? The answer was almost obvious. It was crucial to find out who Lu Ruxue was. Lu Rian stared blankly. Lu Ruxue? Lu Qingxian was surprised. Your sister? Then are there any young men around her? Lu Rian looked puzzled, unsure why Lu Qingxian was asking this. Yet, she honestly replied, my sister maintains her integrity, there are no young men around her, only her fiancé, Fang Chen. Lu Qingxian's gaze became fervent. Then do you think Fang Chen could be Shadow Guard number 1? Shadow Guard number 1? Lu Rian shook her head vehemently, stating decisively, impossible. If he were Shadow Guard number 1, then I would be the master of the Heavenly Secret Pavilion. She recounted Fang Chen's various experiences from her own perspective. Upon hearing this, Lu Qingxian was stunned. So ordinary. Then he is indeed not Shadow Guard number 1. Your sister Lu Ruxue's rapid advancement in cultivation now makes sense. It must be Shadow Guard number 1 assisting her in secret. For a moment, Lu Rian's emotions were complex. She felt a pang of jealousy that Shadow Guard number 1 favored her sister so much, and also conflicted that her sister was not as devoted as she seemed, having such a profound connection with Shadow Guard number 1 behind Fang Chen's back. Suddenly, she felt a surge of sympathy for Fang Chen. Lu Qingxian pondered for a moment, then said, take me to your Lu family residence. We will call out Fang Chen and your sister, and I will question them directly. Perhaps we can uncover clues about Shadow Guard number 1. But at that very moment, the jade pendant at her waist also resonated. After crushing it, a single message formed, urgent matters at the sect. Lu Qingxian's expression turned grim. Why now of all times? It must be concerning the beast tide. Just as she was about to track down Shadow Guard number 1, the beast tide was of immense importance, forcing her to depart. As she pondered, a method suddenly came to her mind. Why not invite Lu Ruxue to join the Qingyun sect? Since this Shadow Guard number 1 holds Lu Ruxue in such high regard, he will surely find a way to come to Qingyun sect, right? The more she pondered, the more feasible this method seemed. She then asked. Lu Rian, puzzled by the sudden question, proudly replied. Lu Qingxian nodded, then summoned a flying beast and soared directly back to the skies. Meanwhile, let's talk about Fang Chen. He noticed Lu Ruxue diligently scrubbing the floor. The servants in the manor were also busy cleaning. Every nook and cranny, previously overlooked, was now spotlessly clean. What's going on? Fang Chen whispered. Lu Ruxue, her face beaming with joy, said. Fang Chen was deeply moved. Having witnessed the difficulty of advancing in the Foundation establishment realm, and knowing that Lone Boat City could not provide the resources for further progression, one had to go to Qingyun sect for greater development. He wondered if his Foundation establishment cultivation might also catch the eye of elderly. But if he left, what would become of Lu Ruxue? He quietly took out several bottles of top-grade qi cultivation elixir in the Stop everything you're doing and cultivate diligently. You should also try your best to see if elderly might take you back to Qingyun sect. Lu Ruxue was caught between laughter and tears. Qingyun sect values innate talent more than current cultivation realm. How could someone with my second-grade spiritual root ever catch elderly's eye? Seeing Fang Chen's sincere expression, and not wishing to hurt his good intentions, she could only accept them. She said. Watching her obediently go to cultivate, Fang Chen also did not want to relax his own efforts. He recalled the treasure beneath the stone carving in Floating Cloud Cave, so he packed some dry provisions and went into the mountains alone. Fang Chen successfully activated the stone statue and once again saw the treasures within. 2 boxes of jade slips, a sword, and those 2 transcendence pills. He temporarily set them aside. He then grabbed the jade box containing the rootless heavenly water. He carefully tasted a single drop. An immensely powerful spiritual energy instantly rushed into his spiritual pool, causing his cultivation to increase by a trace. Fang Chen was astonished. With anticipation in his eyes, he immediately began to circulate the Dragon-Seeking Sutra and sat cross-legged, integrating it with the water of no root. Not a single drop of the water of no root remained in the jade box. Consequently, Chen successfully broke through to the third level of foundation establishment. What an incredible item! It allowed me to directly break through 2 levels. Chen exclaimed with delight. Theoretically, the water of no root should only enable a breakthrough of 1 realm. The reason for his additional level of advancement was the combined effect of his mysterious spirit root and the dragon-seeking sutra. They had maximally absorbed all the spiritual energy from the water of no root, leaving not a single trace to waste. This allowed him to surpass his limits and achieve an additional level of breakthrough. He clenched his fists, and an unprecedented sense of power surged within him. He then looked at the moral-shedding pill and pondered, my spirit root is sufficient. I should take this back for Rushua to try, to see if it can enhance her spirit root. He turned his gaze to the purple sword, a top-grade spiritual artifact, and grasped it firmly. A profound sense of weight pressed upon him, causing him to almost lose his grip on the sword. Chen was considerably surprised. Had he not broken through to the third level of foundation establishment, he might not have been able to wield it. He wondered, what special qualities does this sword possess? Holding the sword, Chen performed a flourish towards the stone statue before him. It felt unwieldy in use, and appeared to have no distinctive features. It was inferior to the lightning-patterned spiritwood sword. Chen felt a degree of disappointment. At the very least, the wooden sword could electrocute enemies and was exceptionally light. This so-called top-grade spiritual artifact, however, was incredibly heavy and possessed no unique characteristics. No sooner had his words faded than a shadow suddenly fell upon him. He looked up, and his heart was seized with terror. The colossal statue, inexplicably, had fractured and was plummeting menacingly towards him. He hastily activated his movement technique, rapidly darting away. With a deafening rumble, a shower of shattered stone fragments struck his back, causing sharp pain. He turned to look and saw that the statue had crashed to the ground, its head shattered to pieces. Chen broke out in a cold sweat from the shock. What happened? Why did the perfectly intact statue suddenly collapse? He approached to examine it more closely, and his expression grew peculiar. He observed several intricate, mirror-smooth cuts at the statue's fracture point, as if tofu had been sliced open. The arc of the cut mark was very similar to the trace left when he performed a sword flourish. Chen gazed at the purple sword in his hand, which glimmered faintly. He had merely performed a sword flourish from a distance just now. He leaped onto the stone statue, raised the purple sword, and forcefully slashed at the statue beneath his feet. Bang! A sharp cracking sound suddenly resonated, and the stone statue instantly broke into 2 pieces. Chen gasped, staring at the purple sword in astonishment. Its ability was to unleash sword energy from a distance, and it was powerful enough to easily cut through stone. He was overjoyed. With this sword in hand, combined with the 7-star sword art, its destructive power would be off the charts. Its only flaw was that the sword was too heavy, making it very unwieldy to use. One must possess an exceptionally powerful physique to perfectly wield it. Was he to cultivate his body then? A hint of hesitation appeared on Chen's face. His father had once said that among the martial arts paths, body cultivation was the most difficult. This was because it required far more resources than cultivating martial techniques. To improve body cultivation in Lone Boat City would be as difficult as ascending to heaven. He absolutely had to go to Qingyun's sect. After confirming that the 2 moral-shedding pills were securely packed, he wrapped them in a piece of cloth. This was to prevent the faint purple glow from attracting attention. However, at that very moment, an old and weak cry of alarm came from outside the cave entrance. Is anyone there? Please save me. In such deep mountains and dense forests, in the very lair of the Bloodbat Palace, how could someone be calling for help? He swiftly and without hesitation moved to hide in the shadows of a rock crevice. An old man, disheveled and covered in bloodstains, frantically rushed in. He scanned his surroundings but found no one. He couldn't help but sigh towards the sky. I thought the noise in the cave meant someone was here, but alas, my life is forfeit. Outside the cave, a towering, burly man, like an iron pagoda, approached once more. His bare upper body was covered in peculiar markings. As he walked, the ground rumbled under his weight. He resembled a moving small hill. You can't escape now, can you? The burly man's lips curled into a chilling sneer. Stealing our giant sect's iron blood. True scripture, even if you run back into Qingyun sect territory.